How's it going, everybody? This is Chris Rickenbaugh, and you are tuning in to the Figuring It Out Finance podcast, episode number 30. And on this podcast, we talk about travel hacking, personal finance, life hacks, and real estate. My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and I am your host as always, and I'm coming at you with another book review. I had a busy week, so I was finally able to sit down, get my notes out, and just knock it out. So today's book of the week is going to be Flip Your Future by Ryan Pineda. So I actually listened to Ryan Pineda on the Better Life podcast with Brandon Turner a while back, and then he popped up again on Brian Lubin's podcast, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole, listened to quite a bit of him with Ed Milet, Pace Morby, and some other really cool guys. So that's another one that's in my podcast list right now. So that list is growing pretty big. But before we hop into it here, follow me on the socials at Instagram, TikTok at Figuring It Out Finance. Go check out the website at figuringitoutfinance.com. And I just appreciate you listening into the podcast. So getting into it here, this is a pretty short book that is pretty cut and dry on how to find, fund, manage, and grow your business flipping houses. So this was all before Ryan Pineda was huge on social media as well. So it's kind of cool to kind of go back and see where he was to where he is now. So it kind of starts out with Ryan's backstory playing baseball, living on $1,200 a month, and then moving into flipping couches. And then he went into flipping houses and, to get his start, he made the cardinal sin from Dave Ramsey, and he maxed out his credit cards to flip his first house. But, he goes on and to say in his next book, which is going to be next week's book of the week. So I'm not going to hint too far into that one, but the cardinal sin of he maxed out his credit cards, which is not recommended at all. Credit cards should be a tool, and debt is a tool. But unless you're using it the wrong way, I would steer clear. So, before getting into the book and really diving into the flipping part, which is, this is something that popped up to me because I am going through a flip right now. It actually just got finished yesterday, 100% finished, and pictures got taken today, and it's getting ready to be listed on the market starting next week at this time on June 19th. So, going through this book, I was able to kind of figure out some of the mistakes I made and learn from what I was doing to be able to be more successful in the next one. Because I even checked out a house today, and I'm like, all right, well, I know this is going to be way too much for what I'm looking at. I was able to judge it a lot better, and just instead of just saying, oh, well, this is going to be a $30,000 flip or a $40,000, I'm able to really run the numbers and get more of an accurate view of everything and some little things to look for. So I'm going to get into that. And his second point is here, how to elevate your mindset to be able to get into that mind space, to be able to grow and build a business, because you need to eliminate the false beliefs like, I need more money, or I don't have enough money, to, I don't know how to fix things. You need to network, and then you need to learn how to take risk. And that is a big mindset change that you have to go through. Some people have to get pushed to that point to where things hurt before they change. And this is where Ryan Pineda really talks about, he was living on that $1,200 a month. He didn't have much to lose at that point, so he went all in. And very few people are at this point, but, he took that big risk to be able to go and flip his first house. He started small, flipping couches, and, he started listening to the right people, like on Bigger Pockets, that are teaching this stuff every single day, every single episode, giving you real stories of people that are doing it, and they're able to tell those stories on the podcast. And then being able to talk and listen to those people, you're getting a free education. So, go check out those podcasts and really learn and dive into it. Books are free, or not free, but really cheap too. So go check those out. So let's get into the main meat of the book. And Ryan's pretty much starts out with, before getting into all the meaty details, he said, you can create so much content from one flip because every single milestone can be documented. So this is going to be hit on a little bit later in the podcast about, where you're getting all your information from. But basically, he gives the whole entire rundown of flipping a house. So it goes from seeing it for the first time, getting your offer accepted, buying it, getting bids for the renovation, picking a contractor, starting demo, weekly progress pictures of the renovation, before and afters when it's done, putting it on the market, getting offers, and selling it. So that is the main rundown, but let's jump into the details here. So step number 1, choose your market. So most of you are going to be able to find that ugly house down the road and be able to think about how to figure out how to renovate it. So ideally, he said in the book, you're looking for a population over 500,000. Then you're looking for the days on market. So normally, after it's been on the market for about 100 days, you're looking for those homes that have been on the market for 100 days. So you can go on Zillow and any of those online places where you can look at houses for sale. You can go up there and put the days on market, and you're able to really narrow down your search a little bit and maybe see if they're dropping the price. You might be able to get a better deal. Then you need to look at the inventory levels in your area and then the proximity to you. So the inventory in the area is just showing you how many houses are for sale. So if there's a ton of houses for sale, that might be a little bit of not a red flag, but a yellow flag, because you're able to say, okay, well, they're all on the market, but none of them are selling. So if there's not many houses on the market, or there's a lot of houses being sold in your area, that means there's probably going to be low inventory and more demand, so you can get a better price. And then proximity to you. Some people just jump into straight long distance investing, but I would suggest flipping something in your area if it's affordable, because you're able to learn, you're able to be there, and just get that firsthand experience. So number 2 here is going to be building a team. So you're going to want your agent, your lender, and then your escrow officer, which is going to be your title company. So your lenders, the agent's pretty straightforward. You're going to want somebody that's maybe done flips before, managing their own flips, renovations. But your lender, this is going to be kind of all over the board, because for a lot of people use hard money lenders. So I used one for my flip, to where they're going to charge you a higher interest rate, but they're able to get you the cash to be able to close. They can buy out that existing loan, or they're able to buy the house in cash and then give you a price on top of that. So depending on who you work with, they're going to be asking for different information, but they're able to get you the cash. So private money is going to be a little bit looser, probably less restrictions, because that's going to be like a rich uncle or something like that. It's not going to be a bank. And then conventional loans are going to be a bank. So can you buy a rental property and fix it up with going to Chase Bank? Yeah, you can put 20% down as a rental property, but you're going to be spending a lot more, because you have the 20% of the house, and then you're going to have to come up with the renovation costs. So a hard money lender, you can get the entire purchase price and all of the renovation costs all together, and then they come to you with a final price that you have to pay them. So like an initial price. So they could be like, my hard money lender gave me about $175,000 right off the bat, and I only had to bring $35,000 to the table, which was way under the 20%, and I didn't have to bring the money to be able to fund the flip, because they would just reimburse me. So I saved in that process probably about $30,000 to $40,000 or more than that. But it's interesting because you can get your money from just about anywhere. You just kind of have to be resourceful and keep your options open. So that's building a team. Or a part of that is going to be your contractors as well, because they're going to be able to let you bounce ideas off them, and they're able to give you accurate pricing of what it's going to be costing to fix it. So next is going to be evaluating the property. So once you get it under contract, you kind of see, or in the fees of flipping a house, kind of what they show on TV is just kind of the lipstick and the fun numbers. So what everybody is going to see is the sale price, purchase price, repair costs, and then the realtor fees. So what's not documented in those shows is going to be the holding costs, the money costs, like the hard money lenders, because that's going to be 15% on the money they're lending you. And then you're going to have some other extra fees in there, and then insurance. So they're not going to detail all of that in one of those flipping shows, but those are hidden expenses that do add up to quite a bit. So you need to be able to run your numbers generously. So not keeping them tight, because you need to have that extra cash on hand for all of those other little fees. So when you're determining all of these fees, you can give your max offer while looking for a minimum of at least $20,000 or 10% of the after repair value. So what you're looking at to be able to get that final number is you're looking for the after repair value of what the house is going to be worth. So how do you get that? You look at the comparables in the area or comps, and the comps are going to be houses that have sold in your area that represent your house. So Ryan goes into great description on how to do that and his forms and what he does on pulling the comps, because the agents are able to do this too for you. So if you have a Rockstar agent, ask them to pull the comps on houses with the exact square footage, bed, bathroom, and aspects of the house, and you're going to be able to see what you're going to sell it for at the end of the day. So the comparables, you can get them on Zillow. All you have to do is go to houses that have been sold and then put probably the last year, and then zoom in on your area, probably within a mile or half a mile to a mile, because then you're going to be able to get those real numbers. So you also got to look at the properties on the market, because if there's a lot of houses like yours on the market, then there might not be a big demand. But say if you added another bathroom, there's none of those houses in the area, probably meaning that it's very lucrative to have those. And then what time of the year is it? Because nobody wants to be able to move in the middle of winter, especially if you're in those cold states like New York or Ohio or anything in the north. I just stay out of Michigan completely, go Bucks. But depending on what time of the year it is, nobody's really going to be wanting to move around the holidays or when it's cold or the weather's bad. So look at that in your area as well. So determining your repair costs. So this is where I made a pretty good size mistake in my flip, because I didn't exactly know how to run the numbers. I had a general number based off of what I did on my house, but where Ryan kind of talks in this book, and, this was a while back, so it's not exactly accurate, but it came out pretty true on this last flip that I just did. So small rehabs, he suggests about $5 to $10 a square foot. So say you have a 1,000 square foot house, and it just needs small rehabs like paint and, just touching it up, making it look nice. He's going to say about $5 to $10 per square foot. So medium, you might have to replace the carpet, maybe some flooring and paint. So that's going to be $15 to $20 a square foot. And then the large is going to be like the full gut, bathrooms, kitchen, and everything. So on these, he says about $30 to $35 per square foot. So if I would have read this book before I did my flip, I would have run the numbers here at a large rehab, and I would have been just about dead on, because when I ran the numbers on the house I just completed, I ran it at about 30, or I went back after the fact, and when I read this, and it was about, I'd say about 30 per square foot. It came out to about 36,000. I'm like, well, that's about right on the number that I spent, maybe a little bit less. So I could have gone 35 per square foot, and that would have come out right to about 38 to 40,000. And that would have been dead on the number for me to be able to budget this house for a whole rehab. And I would have been right on it, and I could have asked the hard money lender for another 10,000 in there, so I wouldn't be underwater on this. So I'm not going to be underwater when it's sold because we have it listed at a price to sell. We're not going to hang on to it. So I'm going to be coming out with a profit, but having to hold on to that debt for a little bit longer would have saved me if I just ran the numbers like Ryan said in this book. So that's why it's important to read. So once you kind of have all that down, you're determining the repair costs. This comes a little bit before, but how are you finding your leads? So on Zillow and all those other apps, you're able to go and look up keywords. So the keywords, you're thinking like motivated seller, seller financing, owner financing, basement, anything that you're attracted for as somebody that knows what to look for, especially even if you're just buying your own home, you're able to look for those certain things through the keywords. And then if you're just driving around, a couple other ways to find leads to flip houses are for sale by owner signs in the front yard, asking everybody you know, mentioning that you're in real estate looking to flip houses. Somebody's going to know somebody. You could do what I do and look at the expired listings where there's sellers that weren't able to sell their house the first time, so they go on the expired list, and I can call them, see if they're looking to resell their house or if I can buy it in some way. Wholesalers, which are buying properties at a discount and then charging you, the buyer of that house, buyer of the contract, to be able to flip that house. So say they get a house under contract at $80,000, they're going to sell that contract to you for $100,000. So they're going to make that split of $20,000 or more for that. And that's wholesaling in a nutshell. So that's kind of looked at as, I think, the get rich quick scheme for newbies in real estate. So if you're going to go down that route, it can be really, really beneficial, but you have to get around the right people that are doing it the right way because, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not just as cut and dry as that. So Eric Klein spoke at our Charlotte meetup a couple weeks ago. He was electric. I mean, just absolutely electric. But he was big into wholesaling, and he's got an awesome story, so I'd go check him out. But he does the wholesaling, and he's able to teach it and give you the script in the right way. So go check him out, Eric Klein. And then foreclosures. So these are going to be houses that people have missed payments on and the bank has foreclosed on them. They normally go to the auction table to where you're able to buy them at a huge discount, but it's got to be hard money. So before Ryan wrapped up the book here, he said he makes a huge point of, just a couple quick notes at the end. He said, when you're making offers, make lots of offers. You should be embarrassed by your offer because you need to be quick to move on them, because some people are, needing to get out of their situation. So you're able to make a quick offer, beat everybody else in, because that's what I did on this last flip too. It was only on the market for a day, and I got in a contract. We negotiated once back and forth, and we closed, and we were able to get it under contract within 2 days of it being on the market, just because I had an attractive offer and kind of gave them what I want. So I didn't go as low as I wanted, but I knew it was going to go really quick, so I jumped on it, kind of gave them what they wanted. But being quick also goes into what I'm doing today. So it's about 8 o'clock at night here in North Carolina, and I have a guy messaging me right as I speak right now, who's looking at me to be able to come over to his house after he posted on Facebook that he's looking to sell a house. So right after this, I'm going to be hopping off and then driving down to a house about 15 minutes away and trying to buy that house from him, maybe subject to, not 100% sure, but we'll talk through it, but being able to be quick and respond and hop on those deals. So I guess that was breaking news. So we'll see how that goes if you're still listening, but I'll definitely be updating. And then the last part here is going to be managing your business and scaling your business. So you need to be a good communicator and doing your homework before on the contractor. So your contractor needs to be somebody you can speak with. They need to be able to explain what they're doing, because you're going to be managing these people, so that you have to know if they're doing good work. And that's going to be a whole other episode of managing a contractor. I got really lucky on this last one, and it's really just for me, it was just being available for the phone calls, answering questions, getting him paid, and communicating as best as possible. So I thought it went really, really smooth for this last one, and I'll definitely be using my guy for the next one. And then you always need to be marketing. So any event should be getting posted about. So that's the things that I read in the beginning of the podcast. And so any of these events, through anything that's happening. So I'll run through that list one more time, because you should be marketing yourself, and then you should be posting about any single event happening. So we're just about to the end here, but some of those events are seeing the house for the first time, getting your offer accepted, buying the house, getting bids for the renovation, picking a contractor, starting demo, weekly progress pictures of the renovation, before and afters when it's done, putting the house on the market, getting offers, and then finally selling it. So always, always, always be marketing, because people are going to be able to see what you're doing and maybe invest in you as well. So that's why you always need to be talking about what you're doing, sharing it with somebody, anything to be able to keep getting your name out there that this is what you're doing, because that could result in a deal for you. So that was Flip Your Future by Ryan Pineda. I really got some good takeaways on that. It's a super short read if you're looking to get started in flipping houses, only about 90 pages. And now I just started his second book, The Wealthy Way. So really enjoying that one. It's kind of a different perspective, just wealth in general and life. So that'll be a fun one to review next week or in a couple days when I'm finished. But check back in a couple days here for episode number 31, where I'm going to be talking about my takeaways from the coaching call with Gideon Spencer, which was a fun one to do. But I appreciate you tuning into the podcast, and I'll be updating you on checking out that house tonight if you're still listening. Thank you for listening. And this is Chris Rickenbaugh for the Figuring It Out Finance podcast. We'll see you next time.